Okay. So with that, what's going on? Well, we hinted at it earlier, but uh, Nintendo bided its time, as you do in Pokemon, and then eventually unleashed its attack, waiting quite a bit of time to uh, throw its lawsuit out at Pocketpair, and it is a patent lawsuit, notably, and they're going to be and they've decided to sue them for patent infringement specifically.
This is a weird lawsuit.
Very odd, but here we are, and the one is inclined to go now, huh? What about every other Pokemon-like game that has been coming out ever since the Game Boy Advance? What about your cassette beasts of yesteryear and your what was the other one? Tem to something starts with a T.
Temu.
Temu. What? Yeah.
Temu. Wait, no.
No.
That's the fucking Amazon ripoff.
Tebow? It was not Temu. Temtem.
Temtem.
Right? And what about your countless others? There's tons of things over the years. And I'm like, is it because Pocketpair was so callous with its energy about it? Or is it the part where they went, we're making too much money. We don't know what to do with it. You know?
I don't know what to do with this shit.
There's a lot of people speculating on how and why and what. I mean, like some people were saying, like, oh, it's because the Switch 2 details like leaked, which is like, what does that have to do with that? I don't see that. But a couple of people legally have taken a look, and they're thinking that, in particular, while we don't have a ton of details, and while Pocketpair has basically gone like, yeah, we don't know where the fuck this came from, they are thinking that this is going to be specifically about the like catching mechanics and like how you kind of throw a Pokeball out is a speculated possibility. The fact that they are again specifically just targeting like this one and not any of the many others, nor have they over the years targeted like, you know, once a kart gate racing game comes out or a platform fighter comes out, like it's just this one. Very, very odd. And another detail that might give some insight here is there was a leak list of games that are going to be announced at the Tokyo Game Show 2024 release from CESA, and the thought is that perhaps Pal World coming to consoles that are competitors is a reason why they're trying to move now on
Second,
this.
you can do all that Pokemon ripoff shit on the godless personal
Steam.
computer.
Mm-hmm. But if it's on Xbox or on PlayStation, well, now it's a much more direct issue. But again, Pokemon Pal World is not the first Pokemon like. Real odd one. And it's already on Xbox. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, so there's Pocketpair might so yeah, they're the one of the a lawyer talking about this is saying that like Pocketpair might have to make gameplay changes to Pal World to circumvent this. It's you know, we don't know if like they're looking to have it but like modified / removed from storefronts altogether. But they are saying that the lawsuit appears to be in Nintendo's favor, likely. So
Nintendo wouldn't sue at all if they didn't think they were going to win.
So is the thought process then that it's like they could have pulled the trigger on any of these games at any point, but like this is the one, you know? And
what if they were like, we want to make sure they make a lot of money so that we can say that that money's actually our money?
Well, that like the fact that there's a news story going, we don't know what to do with all this money is the crazy part. Like that's the like the straight up fucking shot and chaser here. Like, what do we do? And Nintendo's like, I got a few ideas, you know. And so yeah.
What if that was our money? Is it our money? No, but what if it was though?
And so it's going to have to come down to, I suppose, like exactly what the terms are, you know? Is it the act of throwing out a fucking Pokeball and catching a pal, you know? Do they just what if they modify that to a Ghostbuster fucking vacuum suck, you know? Like what is the specific thing? Is it the mechanics of having your buddy monsters and fighting with them? Well, there's a
I
million
saw
other
the
things that
only
do
guess
that,
that I
you
thought
know?
was like kind of legit is that it was like the Pokeball animation.
It
It was
really
like too
does.
close.
Yeah, it certainly does. But then is it like as simple as like, okay, so yeah, replace it with a laser gun that you shoot
Yeah.
and call your buddy back, you know? And again, it's not copyright infringement, it's patent infringement.
Yeah, which is way more interesting.
And patents are specific things. A copyright can be the overall, it can be the trademark, the name, there's a lot of elements to that you can come at it from. But a patent will be like, we'll file a diagram for this exact ball hitting a monster, absorbing it, shaking on the ground, you know, and then it catching inside, and that is specifically what we own. So very, very odd. Yeah. And you know, does this mean like are any other Pokemon clones that exist gonna start sweating about this? Because I want to say that for a long time, you know, Nintendo has basically like innovated a new idea, invented a new thing, and then kind of create a genre and then leave it alone. You know, that's what mascot kart racing, platform fighters, and party games kind of were. I remember years ago there was an article that was basically describing like, here is the thing Nintendo started with. They made a big thing, and then people were fans of that. They wanted it to be pushed further, and Nintendo eventually moves on and ignores the thing, and so people start making their own version of it, and it becomes a whole genre. It's happened many times over the years, you know.
But we're talking about fucking Pokemans, dude.
Yeah.
We're like,
and not the Pokemon Company, but Nintendo here.
you know, so like obviously the patent is going to be really specific. It's going to be like, we don't like the way that this character comes out of a loading screen or some bullshit that no one gives a fuck about. But like the reason they're going after them is because it's a fucking Pokemon ripoff. Like,
yeah.
Like they remember when they were like, we have no plans to whatever at this time, like a couple months ago. That was actually, we are telling lawyers to dig through that game until they find something rock solid we can fuck them on.
At the same time, as I'm saying the like why now, I'm wondering, it's like, yeah, why Yuzu instead of Visual Boy Advance and SNES 9X and Project 64, and you know what I mean, like
well, Yuzu showed up in that fucking Steam
on
trailer,
the Steam screenshot, right?
Which was like that's what killed it for sure.
So is it always like, yeah, we know this is in the background, and as long as you are not hitting a like Patreon, like, you know what I mean, like subscription thing to a fan thing, and you're small, in which case we can just scare you with the,
if you're making money, you're playing with fire. Is like, it's not like not making money is not protection, but making money is a bonfire. Look at me.
If Temtem or Cassette Beasts blew the fuck up like way bigger, you know, would we be having this discussion? Or is the part where it's like,
no, because they're not like outrageous.
Yeah. That's like the thing is, yeah, no, Pal World is like, no, you can look at these and confuse them for living Pokemon. You might not, the art style, the design cues, the ball, all of that. It is outrageous, but it's doing that in order to make it like hit that much harder when you pull out the fucking AK-47 and confine them to the fucking mines.
I love that fucking Pal World is so outrageous. It's
it's the whole point. It's the whole point. Yeah.
You know, but like obviously Nintendo doesn't like that.
It's Scream suing Scary Movie. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to see. Clearly, Pocketpair has the cash to defend themselves, so we will see what happens. But yeah, the fact that this is also, again, a patent lawsuit like is very different from like the way these things kind of usually go. Like patent law has its own rules and things. It's like maritime law or sky crimes. We barely understand these things.
I don't understand copyright law, and I definitely don't understand patent law. Instead, I'm just thinking about how like Sega owns the patent for the arrow at the top of the screen from Crazy Taxi, and then when they made a Crazy Taxi tribute game inside Like a Dragon, they didn't use the arrow.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, but what the fuck is the fucking point?
So vindictive, dude. Or Namco, who's like, we own the rights to a mini game on your loading screen, and we're going to use it once so that you can play Space Invaders when you're booting Tekken 5.
Do you remember? Yeah.
And never again.
Cool feature in Tekken 5. Oh, it's to stop that feature from existing in hundreds of other games. Oh, lit.
Oh, wait, hold on. In Budokai 3, you can spin the stick to grow your Cyberman.
But that's not a game, though.
It's not a game. So no, we never used it again. But more importantly, nobody else can have it. Yeah. So it's nice to know that eventually that stuff did lapse and it no longer is the case. But
I think video game patents are fucking poison.
It's
people in the chat are saying the Nemesis system. Yeah, no. That's fucking stupid. The Nemesis system gets used for 2 games and then thrown away, but it's still patented.
God, man. And it's like the Nemesis system was used in a stealth and action third-person, Lord of the Rings game, right? And like, what if like third-person camera movement, and what if stealth mechanics, and what if Assassin's Creed bits, and what if all these bits were patented beforehand? Then the game you are making that you're patenting the idea on couldn't fucking exist, idiot. Like like so many video games are historically built on the established thing of the genre that was developed before it. And
video games are ripoffs.
And video games are a product of like. And you're improving ideas over time to get to a point where we're like, oh yeah, lock on makes sense when we click on this button over here. Moving the stick on your right side is the most comfortable way to go. Aiming down the sights should be over here, and so on and so forth. You iterate the whole genre. You iterate the entire fucking industry, and like you're gonna lock down things so that other people can't fucking build off this.
How about this one? Decades later, Terry Bogard and Street Fighter are going to be hanging out and hugging and kissing and being good friends. Even though if you go back to 1993, Terry Bogard and his friends are outrageous ripoffs of Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely insane.
But they do get grandfathered in to some degree in that the team that designed them came from Capcom and worked on Street Fighter 1. When Final Fight was developed, and they were like, wait, you said you wanted another Street Fighting game, right? Is this what you meant? And they're like, no. And they're like, oh, you forgot about the game you made a couple years back. They went on to when they worked when they moved to SNK, the same team made that. And I will say that like Fatal Fury gets it was an outrageous. There was outrageous ripoffs going on, but nowhere near as bad as Art of Fighting, right? And Art of Fighting was to the point where Capcom made fun of it in their own game, and back and forth. But like,
wasn't that a better way to handle this?
Making Dan as a goofy, like, haha, fuck your stupid character bit, and then they're like, oh yeah, well Yuri's gonna do all of Dan's moves. Shut up, and they're throwing shade at each other over the years, is one thing, but. Lest we forget, that same Capcom also looked at like Super Fighter and went, you're tracing our sprites, we're taking you to court. Like,
die.
Like there's the goofy like, oh, look at that karate man doing his hados, hadoket, no, how shokoket, yeah, okay, whatever. That company is just tracing our shit, you're going to jail. Like there was a limit for them even at the time of World Warrior,
So, like, I don't know how other people, because some people are getting emotionally involved in, like, oh, the Nintendo half-assing a bunch of Pokemon games and then suing a really interesting Pokemon ripoff is obviously a really bad look. But obviously, the core of it is that this lawsuit is hilarious. I think that's the main takeaway is that no matter what happens, it's going to be bad for everyone because any legal decision in Japan that affects this is somehow going to suck. Like, if Power World gets completely away with it, it sucks. And if Nintendo wins, they're going to be even crazier in the future. But also, the Power World is so fucking outrageous that them getting sued by Nintendo is going to be really funny.
Yeah, and again, the fact that they're like, oh, they seem to have a strong case here by patent law, then we'll see what the ramifications are. So yeah, okay. Capcom sued Data East specifically, which was Fighter's History. I want to say I think they sent a cease and desist, or like Super Fighter in particular got hit by something back in the day, and I remember that was part of why that game was so difficult to track down for a while. But yeah, the main lawsuit was Data East, just to correct.
Can't we just solve this the old-fashioned way and hire guys like Kiryu to go over and fucking shake Pal World down in the street and threaten their family?
Kidnap
Can't
sisters.
We just go back to those good old days?
Kidnap someone's sister to make sure they fucking pay their cut. Yeah.
And the answer is we're talking about Nintendo and not Sega. So,
yeah, it is. I think the absolute blatantness of Pocketpair is what crossed that line this time around. But
I really want to point out, and I'm sure I point it out every time. It is beyond the funniest thing ever that Sega of Japan has a fucking 23-part game series about how cool the Yakuza are, considering their historical behavior. That is like the most obvious possible progression of the way Sega acted in the 90s.
Yeah, well, they would appreciate it if you stopped talking about that, bro. How about you stop bringing it up? Okay? That developer's sister is fine. I'm sure she's living a happy life. Everything's okay.
And pachinko is a game of skill. And you can't even win real prizes.
It's you collect little collectibles. You really
It's a skill game and it's not gambling.
It's just for collectors. What's the problem with that?